Yeah, I think you're good to go now.
Hello.
Alcontong, you know, I'm here with a guy. He has been talking about one thing for almost 1 year now. Who killed the cops, and that issue has been resolved now.
Not
Okay, not 100%.
not entirely.
Mm-hmm. So there is so much going on back home, and we think it's important to have a discussion on that thing. Albeit, all these days you've been talking about how Sidin Jai has been behaving. One of the audios came out, but there are other audios that are more damaging, and CD cannot deny those ones. They're very derogatory. You want to say something about that?
Ora. Kaya ngalo kontong altul ngalo kontong. Along damia mo bangko lete mi along ko modol ya mera loko ila kita bangko lolo. So many times in their unguarded moments, their realities often surface. Andong sidia kumo ko drong moro wala bason no mo kono wala metato. Anda wala lari wala la. Ko mo la sota minimum beri anyum bangko kan. Andong nying audio follow me findeta voice like
just a tip of the iceberg. Exactly.
So, Moro kabere nying cool down that land, we have every information that has to do with it. But kula mi alonko alamoyo manyinya, akibaro manyinya anu molka baro kusifa la mokende jikonte wati. Kasi siole jibe kuma manile foima. Nya kumol mi mfam for they are way worse. All man get cool many along
you cannot put them on the public
because
Cities wasn't a dog, sorry to say that.
It will describe in a way as if and luolong it kabula masamin no
more
exactly. So it like I don't know how people definitely could go to that level in terms of hate, disgust against people who did wrong simply because for one reason or another they are ani dafi on left office yata walti omanke kukende to
so
but of course there are more like it's disgusting, man. It's just disgusting.
So that's the thing. But Malmo, here's the thing. All these days we've been talking about CD. Of course, this thing has been said, but commanding call kamempodo niaje dindiwol ko lenga kunu karimuta. Iaje atinyalto. Ntola dindi ya santoro. Kunu dole bije ka fa jambo tutu. Iaje ni musoluda ni la fa dingwe taman kata ninga fanka kungole kuntu ngadi la ya kisita singoda katamale. Okuno niabai mbe andele dindi ya mbe aloko kuno niabai dron. Within 10 minutes, alka yiro le juwe men jamfara nyola. Abuka among stamina soda ka jolon. So jamba tutu obonyala. So niaje diningol ba fola ko alenga kunu karimuta. Iaja tinyal. But here is the thing, Malmo. CDMM for we know is derogatory. He cannot deny that. If he wants to do it, this thing is gonna come out in public. But nimkoda mutata mandinko le fon. Niaje nyadu ngodo be kerimbi. Kumodo ka fo mpandinko ma bi. I start manding call because you don't tell us so going to be over la bunko. Ela kordakon. Nyadu olem. You remember Dembo by force.
Right.
What he said. Alamande manin kafari kelan. Manding call kamemfo. Abuka to kelako to follow. You heard about Eko ebe mol by la bank. Ebe Jomal by la Bangkok. Jomal ebe Joma by la Gambia follow. That's what we want to know from Baron Alani Mol. They keep singing this song. Tekapo ha ibal baila nimbanko kan. Jo ibe Jomala baila.
Oh, but Jumala from Jumala Baila, because one thing is that NPP as a political party feeds on this negative ethnicity and try to put in the minds of the people who Karinyon Laman La Fala, Karinyon Labal Baila Jambare. I had a phone woman in Kadimon.
Yeah.
If you go to Namoli Jalamin Bela Molokono, you want in both of them presidential advisors. You can Ramanjago Satel letter.
Really?
Ni for that Omanjago Satel de Cafo, Nalbe Kanyanda Jani, Motala Bainola Jam. But those are just re-echoing them mobile for semin for. So tribalism amanko ko CDM for the. Man kadi won lebe nyimbanko kamini alon ko wolu mu ifongol jawol lati because it but amanka ko mi jowyata lati. It only have a political rangolo mu. mbatu ngatam fongo tinya ngana ya tinya pour ton la individual political interest because ñun lo moldi min kata wandi si yo ka ko motal bayno la jang nal be kanyanta jan min ya mi ko mi to let mo ma fo mo la tamu gambia di mo ma fo mo bay la gambia no mo ma fo mo fane ko imanta sile be sirin dame so how could you ita mo min fongo di ka murum because ila political interest and up till they are doing it. I've seen these people, they go to typical Manjago communities, some of them like instead of Kafo NPP la agenda muniti, Ndolbe Nina Keno Lali, Mebangota, Sambala Nyaro Dan, Kavole Hamota Balajan, Nalbe Kanyan Dajan, Jumalo Kebejuma Balajan, then bo by force Lokuma Kamalminafono, and it was saying current presidential advisor. Wolkatale, this is what they are propagating, and of course the propaganda they are running in our communities. Exactly. So tribalism is not just Sidin Jai. No, it's not Sidin. The president is surrounded by ethnicists and tribalists in this country, including typical Mandinka.
That is just one thing. But what we still cannot get, like, you go, does that make sense? Because I had one of these NPP nominated member condemning Sidin Jai, people clapping for her, but it doesn't make sense because Amandari is not condemning CDM member at the palasology because at the implications at the if you say these things about Mandingas, maybe they will not vote for you. Maimuna Ceesay member Kabuka Ndeledo ko menke 2016 moto tinyalan tole.
Like Maimuna la diamonda jani Sidi. Maimuna is probably more ethnicist in my view than Sidi Njai. Because Sidi is in an unguarded moment where he told that was a confidential conversation he's having and he's speaking his heart out. But Maimuna tara low political platform to president of Sidi.
Yeah, exactly.
Ako man ning kole ko albo usenda bo no male na bura adam baro no ma. Ko molle ka bokasa mas min kana karte fay UDP. But listen to this. Ñi mo kilingol for damage 22 years of rule. Itolla ka fon tolle molle ka bokasa mas kana karte fay.
Let me interrupt. And it's not molle ka boka. Ikafule Jolal.
Yeah.
For Jolal manke Gambiano. Why do you have that tag on those people? Kasamas manke Jolas bankuti. Mandinkol bijele, fulol bijele, mo bele bijele, sarahulol bijele. But look at that statement. Kasamas Jolal.
So does that
make sense?
Does it make? And then this was said in a political, gathering in the open.
Baron was there, sitting entertaining that.
NPP on the basis of this and this. Akoman alna karte fay, Adam Baro alebo usienda no. And ayala mi lafa ako oseno ka palaso di kabira be masakunda aka palaso di adingo baringo la mollela so nyalo nako wala musol be manke maning so that is discriminatory against the wall of and then to hear this Maimuna say whatever her name is to come back akada ka Sidi Njai condemn and then ataka maning kala fasa baranga man ataka maning ko la kumane puriete to la political party do and ako ko katu usenda bo obuka palaso di maning ko la ka palaso di adingo baringo la mollela so wala nyende ko ate is discriminating against Jolas, he's discriminating against the wall of so tribalism is not unique to just one person, it's entirely NPP. NPP feeds and survives on tribalism.
But incompetent people, corrupt people, they cannot thrive at a balloon tarola. So these are the only things they can use to survive. Eko yalo kumubuka domo akamwele. The same people eko Usenu is a tribalist. Man of I understand.
Right.
But at the same platform, Akub Usenu Bukam Mandinkaya Fasa.
Right.
Man of have you listened to that? Usenu Daba, Usenu Damu, blah, 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 Usenu Damu Teng, Usenu Damu tribalist. Indirectly saying he's a tribalist because this is a tag you put on him. Right. But Ida Mokilo Muranaka Usenu Bukam Mandinkaya Fasa.
Right.
Akapalaso di Kayela Molela. Where are we fucking heading to in Gambia, man?
Tribalism is, let's say, it's a political tool that is being established by the NPP to continue to, Kamola mind pollute and make them believe that there are people against because they take elections to be ethnic census. So for them they made other people believe no. But it need to control tribalism. But all I need to go to Palace be the labadi,
I think so.
Na la see lela. But ita mo kino wala mo rinta platform kino de ko nyako na Palace so da kiyan ko la baka Palace di yalla wala Palace di manding ko la Palace di adimo bari wala la ning mo ko tan wala nyinte ko kayela mo daga Palace di wala. So what exactly do we mean? So in short, NPP from ngase kumbalo moy the current presidential advisors many along ko kata usate ringol tebe baro min naje we know is purely tribal, and we have seen all kind of people who actually work in this government, including Haniman and Kadimol from Game Way.
So this is the problem.
So who exactly is it? It's not like this person who manke manding ko wala tinaba nyum mo foka. Ngo tribalism is actually probably the flag of the NPP that they actually raised.
Because they don't have anything to go.
Because Imam Fensu they were for la mole political carola and in Bangola Yuruana la Nyarota la carola. But divide and rule is basically what they do. And all that nanika model menje kuma tinimbalo safakanjang is simply because of those kind of things, because it all form is chronic in their hearts. So the mini alonko society runs away from having those conversations, and it's important that people have these conversations, because at the end of the day moro and what is important is not about how you get votes by all means necessary, by trying to divide people in this ethnic line. That is to your advantage. And hani adam go fonka balu wala. So momi fonka ho moleko ninka harnyol sita jang ibe ko min kelal la jang ni mala be ku kelam wala jang.
You and I, we all got kids in America. Right. Okay, they first generation Americans, but of course, you know why I'm bringing this issue. I want you to tell your Manjago people. Yalo Manjaka de Kamana Badabuchag. Bagabuchag. Manjago and Gala Kadormuala Council, Bagabuchag. But Barry Bat, the Barry Batland, Barry Bat, remember Genevisa, you know. Alkaka Yalo, I want you to, Manjago better than I do. But I don't think they should be saying that now. Obankombele Kanyan. Tell them what is the meaning of Badabuchag.
No. In simple terms, banko dingol or whatever. Bandanga humole silam. Those generations in some better world too.
Yeah.
Oro. Mota moji bele ya fa ko ita banko dingol mindo manke banko dingol.
Yeah.
Hane atara from me along ko amamoro ulo na tala, but there is a generation many along control ni will be ulutala ni be menta jangi dingol sota jay mamaringol sota jang. So control ni will be mo banko dingol.
Exactly.
So as time gets on, things change over time. And then it had a muruna community or satiel fangoto. And look at the same government.
Yeah.
It all like a kaito dada they are dispossessing them of their land.
Yeah.
They actually go to Sirif division, ya kaito fenang eviction notice wala satiel beto. Now they will do that through the system. But the same people will leave state house as political advisors or whatever. Go to the same communities. Tell them no momenta mo bondela jang, motala bayala jang, nalbe kanyenta janne, atol be president wala kang president Juma. And imagine, not recently, he invited about 4 or 5, alcalos from typical Manjago communities to the state house to say they are going to discuss land issues. Are land issues unique to one ethnicity? Are land issues in the Gambia unique to just 4 or 5 alcalos? Land issues in the Gambia should not be addressed in ethnic lines. But they invite people to the state house on ethnic lines to discuss matters that probably affects ethnicity. Do we have ethnic classes? No. Gambia's problems should be looked at collectively. But this is a divide and rule masakunda. Bimbe Jolala invite la state out. So Mamba Sarahulele invite la state out. Sindimba Manjakola invite la state out. So before we actually say CD Kumakong mean for in his unguarded moment, we have seen it as if it is structurally instituted in the governance system of the Gambia by the NPP government. So people should now evolve beyond that. Because they are against you. No, there is always and there will always be multiple parties. They feed on tribalism at every level, including those who claim that eventually NPP and a chief was out there preaching.
You cannot. It's crazy, man.
So imagine, so because it and I mean following into go ntolonga katu wa minke jan 2016 da sonne ete wotinyan tande Omar mira ko Gambia la nyarota ni man kaya su fasad wo bala politiko ni fanko to bambandolla wala nyinde ko ndebe mela jan nyami wala nyantante made bare ntolnga kato minga pour ntolnga na nyumma siya nga kodo sunya nga kodo soro no masa kunda bulu nga tapal yani tilimbal yalge moro ni koy boti nyala nyambe nyo fala janne so this Maimuna is not against CD because of CD's statement. There are personal vendettas against both of them. There are multiple camps within their political party
NPPs.
and even yokelola.
So that is the thing. And Manjagos, you people should understand something. Very intelligent people, you know. They've been having a land problems in Combos. Look, back in 2017, I covered one at Tanene. You remember that case?
Oh yeah.
So they will never come to you, nalbe problem okono. But the only time they will come is when Yalanko election is approaching. Until that time. And they try to pit your heads together. So this problem come nga men for alinga kunu kari mutangaja tinyal nim man dinkol kata si modol ko ne kay fango tinyal yemuro bule fangol. What do you think others can do?
And you know me from Canada recently. Yeah. E boy do la mutami ya lon ka do ko ke physical planning. Manjago satel la alkalo la stampol. Ada ko la foj. So this guy, because you know most of the time you know a land sold register. So I think because he works at physical planning, he looks into the system and look at lands many along they are not registered. So I land sold that you know I register on other people's name or I need told bondi guy mo kotengol tol keje and then alkalo la stampo ba wuli to look at land document for je fangal. Police only amutayalo ya charge me. Eko you know probably he has you know a document that is not authentic. He has some code with a very flimsy charge, and this guy who knows if he had sold an entire village. You know, they actually charge him for, $10,000 or, spending 12 months in prison. $10,000 in Belurinda, but that tells you, but who runs that system?
Yeah.
But they are the one who should correct the system. This person should have been fired from physical planning.
Absolutely.
Imagine an employee of the state. This guy is actually guilty of forgery. He's actually guilty of abuse of office and, of course, obtaining land documents on through theft. But more charges will be investigation or widen because a lot of people would actually be caught. So the system is built on this kind of things. And then many of system will correct la state house when in reality now these communities is that damn into kila kasu dual be boy.
Yeah.
NPP They are now staying away from those communities. But now me address it how you deep in are the ones against you. Manding call them better at rate or from manding kadi.
They can memfale covering manding combo. Nim manjagol alim manding call they share everything with you. From land, you have your cashew farms, your plantations, whatever you call it. They give you land where you do burials because that was the issue back in 2017. I was there. So they don't allow them to play with your minds. Listen, Barrow just came barely 10 years ago. You were living with this for more than half of a century or more. So no can I let me say, if I want to send you out of this country today, if Nime Gambia bin kweko, me baila nimbanko, because it about the berendin.
Right.
Where are you going? Are you gonna leave your mom here and somewhere? Where are you going in? Because even at casa, because they always said Jola ning penkol but casa man.
No sit no casa masle. You know, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Let's say, Gambia mola kol dunta nyokono nyamengi to the point that it how could you even look at somebody afo karnyol balbaila jani balbaila no nyadi because mommy yalongo over 60 years, or more than that, wala mama because Gambia at some point, every ethnicity originated from somewhere. Gambia nada because mola fana Gambia law. There are people who actually study.
You know why they say forefathers? Because in their mind, nearby if I'm alone. Baxel come from. If I ask your father's name, you know. Your father's father. He will not know. Never could understand. So the reason why we cover your forefathers because they think after 3 if I'm your grandfather, your great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather, you cannot remember 5 people after those. No. You cannot even remember their name. That's why they say your forefathers. So, do your normal politics. But they know that those things don't suffice now. People are intelligent. Right. You cannot trick them. Right. Where are you going to send them? But this is the thing. I think you people need to look for something. And you know, they play this thing on UDP, but they cannot play this thing on Talib.
No.
So, yeah. So why? Yeah. So they don't play this thing on Talib.
No.
So what happened to Sukuta meeting? Hamad Banyo, they were kind of terrified. They were scared because they know the tribal can accept.
Will not actually make any cut.
If I also made $1 million, she made some xenophobic, and I heard she's not from Gambia as well.
Mama Jack. Mama around the Mama statement of the police. Ako, you know, she's a citizen of Guinea. You know, but as a citizen of Guinea, but I mean, Manke Gambia Dingoti for many alonko is publicly known that Manke Gambia Dingolti. They are following the president and interfering in our domestic politics and even insulting existing political institutions in the Gambia. No moment in one into Nyata. Ibe kumo sifa be follow mole be banku dingole nenna but president ka ko lesen bentu ya so anybody, you know, from anywhere you can come and actually interfere in our domestic politics and insult anybody and everybody, and then you still go scot free, and that is just what it is. You know, we don't personally. I don't even care about more of a but you know, tilungo min tonya nyanto tamandila ni molbe tema. You know, but NPP as a party. Ikabalu minna wala nyindi wala na ni maji fon ni mbaro we motala ka ko ate mbahal cabinet. Should you appoint people based on ethnicity?
No.
You should appoint people based on competence. It doesn't. Nobody cares. You know, either you are this or that. But that is because he's so ethnic sensitive and he's so focused on that. You know, and he thinks that everything is about ethnicity. So at some point, you know, sitting on the moko no ga mo ngo me kar nyolo bayla lambe fangal la kala ji wala tolle be marala jimbanko la dunda jabo moro o ma mona fa fenna, because at the end of the day, you know, we are all the same people. We are all human beings, and we are all, you know, more mini along control la kube nyoko. So ni konde ko bibe come, let's say, okay, na famu jolalti e ko nyoko moro mbe bayla Gambia. Wembaira Gambia moro ite komite mama woro wuluta Gambia don la moro mamo men yaron ko nyomi berani moro alkal ya almame ya wol ben don la silol so ina eta dula ko tengol de modol jibere afole ko amoro almuna la altija we afo ko mula mama o kabirin sanjuma o be Gambia, but again ita min fonka fu dol be jemin ka fu mo ko alman ka Gambia no ni etol fon la tare ko jibe just next generation that ibata la banko exactly. You know, but again, even if somebody was not born in the Gambia, Gambian constitution has provided that within a certain period of years, Gambia Bangkoka, you could regularize your status and become Gambian. And I mean, from Ganda Jakal Molla code. Ekala fila badi ngoleta America carte fa America.
Yeah, I know, to get American papers. Yeah, but
itakala fi badi ngoleta Europe kaito letter. Bania modo lijiwe ka follow ko but Senegal. But who even tells you that somebody cannot have a Senegalese nationality and still have a Gambian nationality? Where is that haram? Or where is that unconstitutional? Where is it written that that is not possible? But alka kontan lalla mole tuba budu kay dol so de la mo carte fa Gambia fana. But no karanyol boda Senegal, what exactly does that mean? Karanyol boda Mali le wala karanyol boda janana moro jumala mambodla. You know? But these are just the playbooks of the you know the regime.
It's
a matter of tamani molka wodla. Sekumbalo ya fojan. You know, mo kotengol presidential advisor ba ya fojan. Dolbe jihana ko sai baraka walla, you know, Sidin Jai manke mo follow even though in his unguarded moments about kanje. Bareka bara walla, and then a lot of people have this mentality, and then hani tolo fongo damal ko mini yalon ko umani kadimul walla kada mo kotengol ya ka ko karanyol mambe ya na fengere je ko min kalal. We even heard Baro recently ka ko ni mamma se aso de ka fo modal manke banko dingol dal manke teng ni lungo min na le nyim banko di nyim mole. So for them, they are instilling fear in people to avoid, you know, a certain class of people. That is not my business. But now there are other options within the political space. You still have option in Lamin J. Dabo. You still have option in Talib Ahmed Bensouda. You still have option in many other existing political parties. For the Mobe Mambetia, NPP da Malabetia. Balu, you know, tribalism in Tidimbalia.
And Adabaro follow Rutsman. His political home was UDP. Nimen Bebe Fenkelebi. Yalong Hadamadun Kakalina Kununa. Okay, and Kumodo BJ come for Abokatu Kelaka to follow. The damage stays there. Near Kumodo for B because of anything can happen, boy. Banku Mengalonko Mankunje Mafa. We cannot even fix that country.
Right.
But now these are the nonsense people, many alonko they flock. You see, yeah, those are very derogatory things you meant from Mandinka. It is Sidinjai. Yedomoroke Konofar. Equal control learning. We had everything you said. What came out is just a tip of an iceberg. So I'll kind of fall sima mirankunto. We will come after you. Niba to finti. Yemol apologize. You are worse than a dog, sitting there.
I don't mean forget that. He was calling media houses trying to schedule interviews. Kabiri nyimko keda. Kabiri along kwa mean before
Yeah.
Abe is in the public.
So you better be on your
He
tense.
suspended all the interviews.
Yeah, you can. We will. Anytime these things can come.
Oh, 2-in-1.
So get ready, because we want to put a stop to it. And no, not sitting there is just one part. I don't manding kadi wal men kata si modol konal bal fantinya ha manding ko de manding ko. It's all nonsense. You know. We will come. Baro.
So go ahead.
No. Politics is supposed to be, like I said, you came on a clean slate. We expect something good from you. But along the way, you decided to sway and bring in this ethnicity. Look, if you ask anybody in that country, it's like a mixture. If I'm built, it's always like that. Your grammar.
All right.
So this is something we have to put a stop to it. You know, imagine na cause ninga member man yasara hulong. He's here commenting. Imagine the one like it. But if there is any other language that I speak well, it's Sarahul. You know, so I am Mandink. My dad is Mandink, but my mom is Sarahul. My cousins are all Sarahul. So imagine the Farango like Mbal sila because Sarahul Farango to Mali. Farango na cousins so like you will go to Mali. So I think this is something we have to put a stop to it. We have so much to fix in that country. Power is a problem. Roads are a problem. Hospitals are a problem. Women are dying. But they will never have that constructive or important engagements. But they will just, try to put us in a very tight corner. Sikari. Muna, nitarafu ikenyin kalafa mandinko nilafa jado sanaba. No, they don't ask you. That hardship is there for everybody. They don't see either tribe A or tribe B or tribe C. No, everybody. Hospital, mbele kataje. So why are you doing this? Why are you dividing us? This is not something any civilized leadership, any civilized country, any serious government should do. But mulbuke ikunto munko sumbuno ebulu. Wechi.
Mol nyanda mimfahamla. Aja dunia. Tabering Yamasa Kundala negligence and outright corruption led to the death of almost 70 children with cough syrup. Or the no fiber ethnicity killing. That is malgovernance. That is how you actually gauge a government. They cut across. Moro ni bela konyo kan nisang okeda. Jan ni kono badin kono troll fon kana futana. Isi nyol la fana ka finna. Fol be ka tara tribe kilina ba. This is another thing. Nila kuken nefanam be caring. Mini follow ka futana moro. Woldol many times. So one thing is ntolla yado and our socio-cultural fabric. These kind of things are not widely pronounced. These things they only actually surface or many times it can propagate time women political interest. So why can't we see beyond just this negative ethnicity for political interest of a few people to look at the generality of governance in our country? Karo ni masakunda mi yalongo komando Gambia College mufiri Ceesay wole joro bake wod la ibuka direct employment sort of denying almost hundreds of thousands of young people from jobs, because back then you have stipend of almost $500, you have a residence, and then you have free education, and then you are directly employed into the system to be a teacher or to be a nurse or to be an agriculturist or to be a public health officer. Ni masakunda nate yobe buruka alaji be funding ke la doku so do they actually gave jobs to about 4 or 5 young people they are now, and then they gave them very cheeky responsibilities while denying almost hundreds of thousands from jobs. So wala masa kunda dika mingibe ya haima and then ya jibe balwo dabe kolare Gambia eti tala dula ya fo ko manika Marcelo nyindi surwa Marcelo nyindi wala Marcelo nyindi mo buka sandala sila nyi sido ya sandala si fulala.
No way.
And when people are applying to jobs, you don't come and say that you write your ethnicity on the job application form. What again? Ela Gambian kadiya ika kuole nyine wala. Mane boro dabe daming moro nkai mobile olong.
Casco is cheaper.
Exactly. I'm telling you. Atombo ngamra from balu from Sony Arajan.
Of course, because when you buy a bag of rice or even that $20 penko from either Casco or Walmart takes you for a long time.
I don't get it.
Yeah, but They will never talk about those things, man.
So it a balu wala kuwa fola, it a fola mola, how they're improving lives and
No. They have
of course,
idea.
livelihoods are actually getting worse than ever. Healthcare is getting worse than ever. Education system is getting worse than ever. Every other thing you can imagine in terms of our development, of course, infrastructure, still a little bit the dark and all of that. But again, you look at those things; those are donor-funded projects. Mini alonko moro dole beje wolmanke fanko fangoti amanke donation olti wolmu loan nyolati mini alonko moro ngai for the next 3, 4, 5 generations will continue to pay.
Of course.
So where are we accounting government? Because nenyi ngala mol fananjibe. Is Gala an ethnicity?
No.
This is a combination of different kind of people who align with the fact that, of course, there needs to be transparency and accountability in this country.
So this is the thing. They try to divert people's attention from reality.
Things.
Yeah, one thing is either corruption or incompetence. That's why they're like, okay, carrying your mambete, see caribbean, Nebal Berejal, battery I stole from Gambians. It is soon suluto. It is soon
but these people are worse than Jammeh in a way, in terms of new resources. Because Jammeh was amassing all this wealth in his name, and then that is very easy because lungo minna bejila ma beta la ngamurundi Gambia. But beta sayabe waf. Including the landed properties. Imagine Gambia as a country, as small as it is. And if you understand the land tenure system in the Gambia, is not government because communities existed before government. Gambia only got independence in 65. Most of these communities existed before 65. And only became a republic in 1970. So saying Bankole mini alonko wole sort of kabirin jamani jama. Wole tamila dulalti. So now Gambia man land sort of as a country, as the name of the state, because many a time for near world that wole need sula da banko do you go to communities, you beg and the communities give you. Now all these lands you forfeited from Jammeh, why didn't the government keep those lands for government use for the next 20, 30 years and beyond? But itaka murun ko mansa kunda ka banko waf. Me along ko itol nyanta ubang ko for mutala pour man sakundala development on wala atana sign they go to forest parks to destroy them to say they are coming to do development but nyim bankol wafi jumalle ya ifangolo damali ya ni like criminal cabal that are actually there to amass wealth at the expense of the Gambian. So nyim lo mukulti mini along ko we need to account this government on nyim lo multi mini ni sikilo aton de subukilo fula amantambi atambira 900 la yeni subumburu waf 900 mol min be do ko la nyim commission to do bi nako biya ka to Ahmad la sin na ka to Ahmed so you will be just to buy some of those things. Jumal na nyin tele bala ko wafu kemelula.
Yeah, it's sad.
Kamoto wafu less than $100 like hani scrap moto la parts all do be wota meda 5,000 la.
Boy.
So ko moto bumburu yo wafu 5,000. So nyim fon ninkele katola ke pour mol ya lonko tilimbala iko imagine wo farato fam probably you went there before iko sajiol nimbal mimbe je ko be filter.
Buffalo.
They have this breed. Because Seoul be escaped and they be Seoul. That they stole all these properties and of course they sold all of these landed properties. Imagine a government that was denying, vehemently denying to remove, to pull out those lists. Yeah, it's
sad.
I knew they are celebrating their anniversary. You are sending paramilitary to gas them and of course to fight them and of course to jail them.
So Yalon Barrow is a very interesting human being. You will be the president of the country, regardless. You will be president for all. Ila responsibility to know what is happening in the country, right? You are the most informed person in that country. Okay? What is going on? Are you in charge or somebody is in charge running that country? Something is definitely wrong somewhere. I'm the president, I'm the most informed person in this country. Of course, he's supposed to be the intelligence. Everything goes to you. But in order for him, you are informed when people say things about you. But when there is some corruption and mismanagement and grafts and whatever you call it happening, you are not aware of it. So, and I think Barrow should be careful with this gala. Ketung mankisaya bot. Doko membenya sola bukoji. So you should be careful. Sometimes I wonder what Barrow interests me. Do you want to protect a handful of people, or you want to be because what is difficult in that? Release the Fenco. Release so in Findindi. Men would take them to the court.
Why can't you? Even is the Finday, the first Senate again.
Jealousy men of for
When you more Muzungal let you away, you're going to get your Zungal.
So that is the thing. So we have Gala is a problem for these people because it can memfo and barum for that time betembo men to Jinatan down bembo. Yakosi Tana Imakosi Tana. Because you'll be held accountable. So it's better you be transparent with people. And we just have a few months before we head to the polls. And again, I don't think this tribal thing is going to work. So
you look at Minketa Farababanta. Trying to protect Julake, who is a private miner. A community women garden me along with Balu baby Larry Wallato. Atoli Nanale paramilitary fena, you militarize that community to the point that you kill 3 young people of that community. That is malgovernance. That is basically, corruption. Tilimalian intangibility because you are actually trying to protect an individual against an entire community. The Dingrato, Balu Damim Faneko, Balu Lion Ajebetinya. Falamurunda Fale funding care for lands. Only more Conteko Balu is tolerant. You don't know what tolerance is.
No, you know why that is people are saying Baru is tolerant. Insula Kumbong Ebira. That is the thing. Because of course, he's not tolerant. If he's tolerant, he will not,
But again, how do you run a democracy on a dictatorial constitution? In his unguarded moments, he will tell you, he's just threatening the people. I can become as terrible as the former regime. So Barrow is not any better. Because Nyimasa Kunda de Inkai more father Nyimbanko can we see how the police are treating the likes of Aliubani Moko exactly. But that is because they are trying by all means to suppress divergence in opinion and how people think. You cage them, but you can never cage their thoughts and their mindset. Most of the people who believe in what they are doing. Many Barrow is really into accountability and justice and transparency. He will be very happy with what Gala did. But that tells you a lot about how the government was compelled to do what they did, not because they desired to do it. So what come fale beto? I think if you look at Useno Bojang, Bojang, but look at even what they ended up doing. These people are ethnicists. Ira kaiti dola dadane fon ka fo ko anyi manke dambien no fon di albeke lo ke ka woli
ko jamal manke gamia
Usenu nyol
e ko wara mundo jola le kasama
but what you also look at it when they got Usenu Bojang, what did they end up saying?
This is nonsense.
People to stop. So this man sakunda ka feed walla ninjola ita na ke dress ko rebel lo mati and then so every go they attach tribalism. Even if you run a media house and you are critical of them, so they identify and characterize everybody on a negative light towards ethnicity just to actually continue to bamboozle the mentality of the people. What I'm working anytime try to use religion to bamboozle the people. So these people use negative ethnicity. But momi yalon ko amalla ala la man nabi jay wala ka foy ko nani d'accord tamina suma ka foy ko na diata nyen samboto itane mol d'accord da sanyi sabale ko sanyi sabata kela sanyi luli ka mankanya sanyi tangi ka mankanya muni ati na ka fondole ko no, let's just give him another chance and that will be the end. And now that will be the end. Who will actually justify that will be the end?
You mess up our country, man.
3 was not the end. 5 is not the end. 10 is not the end. 15 will not be the end.
I know.
20, 30, because when greed overcomes a human soul, you don't even talk about your integrity or trying to do the right thing. It's always about better dollar and then what you actually see. The double tongue politicians, those with the snake tongues. So wale ana bini woldo ko teng wala na nte do be jeninga do jibe ka ko wala karango do yandi Gambia
they don't care
karango doya e molu doya do fongo be je fongo for if you talk about ethnicity camera ko do wala fongo fanne ga ya fongo doya Gambia ka di fongo la ka muri ka ko and do la mulu mambete so when you talk about city, look at it inwardly and look at some people welcome manya minka nika baro minka nyimbanko ka
Sidinja is sembetable. Hana Adam Baro Sembeto, Sembobe Aladamanu. There were people who are so-called powerful. Idi Amin, Emperor Bokassa. They were Mabutu Sese Seko. There were people who claim, look, Mangestu Haile Mariam of Ethiopia. Wole kila mo bunki dola afa. Nina da furo kama kweko ya afa keso mena. Iba jola la janiela furo samba. they all left. He's in a farm in Zimbabwe now because Mugabe left protect when he was overthrown by Meles Zenawi. If Barrow is doing the right thing, he doesn't even need to, do these wheels on the bus, go round and round, trying to talk about, okay, tribal thing. It's not going to take you anywhere. Membe Gambia B, Omu Ulara du Bengalti, Yara Ulara du Boboka Mokari. Kurasorobalia, we all sleeping in the night. Your potholes, you know how it is in America. We work in this in industry. You know how people don't mess with quality in this country, in the construction, from roads, everything. But they will fix roads in the Gambia in a day or two. Boom. Atinyat. Where are we heading? So cuts is something else. Sidinjai, we're coming for you. You better go out and be on your tents. You better go and apologize, right? Because Ian Memfo, like I said, the one that came out, that's just a small thing.
But look at it.
Yeah.
Who are the people surrounding Barrow?
Yeah.
Is this, his advisors?
Yeah.
Will be there, these people, many alonko, including even those that are typically Mandinka. Well, like the other people, in their moments, actually speak that
Yeah.
So everyone who is surrounding Barrow, who are actually within his inner circles,
see the Gambian see the end. This man is very dangerous.
Yeah.
Behind closed doors.
This guy is worse than a pest. It's worse than a pest.
He's worse than a dog. He's worse than the 10 plagues. He's worse than anything you can think of. Yeah, and Adam Barrow, you hearing all these guys saying all this nonsense. You know what the gravity of what he said about people back home, about Mandinkas?
He supports his politics. Adam, anything that supports his politics, he's into it. He doesn't care. The whole point is that these people, by all means necessary to win elections. Hani adarako abajar lete itole mingo minebo kela. Adam la kasi kafu mole kondruka fure ole kumolo wulinde kasapole keje. We momi Adam ngo mi yalon katara fa hanyi ta kabara wala and still come out and tell it to the public.
Yeah.
What's that beleke? Momi kasi kafu kondruka tala Burkina Faso ni nula ko ngo moria sifa beleke ka dafe ngol jolon nangino ka fengol bula dafe ngol ani adama dingo fure wala ke ko wala ka fengol keje mi yalon ko ataman dam fon ka bako nyimu kule de mi yalon ko amang jari fon moyo fo publicly and ita ko muslime dingol ita la ala land ita ka dino la balundi ita findi ita ka fo mole ko ndol ka wandi fure wala ko wala nga sapol keje amra ko korla kulan
Adam Barrow something
tribalism is the cheapest thing that Adam will worry about.
But like I said yesterday, kana son Sidinja ya brutal masu say kumola. Get this man out of it. He's so toxic. He's not good for you. Get him out of your government. Ninga kuma for you are the most informed person. Ask people to provide those audios for you to listen. Because, Barrow in that man of I understand, you have been Mansala. He doesn't like when I say this. But Mansala. Because Sidinja Gavandela ko Barrow a thing. Yeah, the many Lahana Tere Chunti Balolemi. It have like why I said this. You can report I like carry fire. But Sidinja is saying he's the de facto president. From what he's saying, for Sidinja ka so konko. Sidinja na mulfat o banko ka.
Kango president ko
ni kelajan. Gata kelajan. Ana de kelajan.
We si am na dole de we pago we cha.
Mansur wa ka yala bari yala bu kam malu fana. Yala man ningol kamem fo. Foroyal man kanya malol te kanya nola. Ko surwal ko nyaadi domi gor mun lañ la ika ko nyaade yakal si gali xaj. Waye bu la fa feka nga fa ngay leka